athletes and fans around the world, welcome to another episode of Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins, graced again this week by Linda Murray. Hello, my friend.
Hello, hello.
And it is lovely to have you. Tarek Elgindi, our judge from around the world, has come back.
Yes.
I know you got to introduce her, but you're quite dismissive of my introduction. Can you redo that again?
Sure. You know, you talk about that at the Olympia press conference, and I'm kind of doing it on purpose just so you can relive those magical moments. When it's so anticlimactic, they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, 8-time Miss Olympia, Linda Murray!" And Tarek.
Yeah, it was not a great moment in my existence. They introduced Linda Murray before me, and the crowd went crazy. And then they introduced the judge, because nobody likes the judges, and it was quite underwhelming. So we're going to change that structure and have Linda Murray be introduced last.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's go back. It's always great to be with you. Tim Wilkins here for Primetime Muscle. And as always, joining me, my co-host, one of the greatest judges of our time right now, traveling around the world to make sure this sport is kept on its heels, Tarek Elgindi.
Thank you so much. You're so good, Tim. I mean, you're incredibly good. I got to give you a lot of credit.
And joining us today,
right.
Tarek, 8-time Miss Olympia, Linda Murray.
Woo! And the crowd goes wild.
A bunch of assholes here. Jerk-offs.
All right, we're kicking things off by the beautiful graphic behind us.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked in a past episode about some of the dynasty holders, some dynastic people who have 6, 7, 8 wins, and what their best year was. Today we're going to cover those Mr. Olympias who won the title one time.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start things off. Tarek, you've curated this list, but it wasn't hard.
Yes. These are the guys that only won one time. So I made a selection. Charlie, roll up the picture of Chris Dickerson and Samir Bannout. They won in the early 80s, Chris Dickerson and Samir Bannout. Chris Dickerson was not a mass monster, but what he brought was great conditioning, beautiful lines, and tremendous presentation. Some people think that he might have been the less impressive Mr. Olympia. I don't. I think he brought a beautiful line, beautiful physique, and he was at the right time. He was between Arnold and Lee Haney, right? Frank Zane was retired. You know, he won his last one. So he was at the right time, and he was the best man. Now, Linda Murray, what'd you think of Chris Dickerson?
I agree with you. Chris Dickerson definitely brought the conditioning. I'm not going to say, because I think all Mr. Olympia champions, like, you win that title, like, that's something to be very proud of. Yeah, he brought the conditioning. I'm trying to remember who competed with him during that time. I know you said it was before.
Samir was there. Samir Bannout was there. I think Lee Haney was there in the first couple of years, but Lee Haney was just kind of a new pro, right? Who else was there? I'm trying to remember some of the guys. Tom Platz was there, right?
Okay.
Maybe a little bit older.
Probably early Gaspari and
Lee Labrada. Early Labrada years. So,
yeah.
Well, he was also, to me, the greatest Mr. Olympia to ever sing the national anthem.
Ah, that's right. He's talented.
Very talented.
I do remember him that he sang.
Yeah.
He could sing the national anthem. So, you know, a lot of times I go by the lineup as well. You know, there's a lot behind when you win that Olympia and what you do with that Olympia. I learned that very early on, that it didn't matter if I broke the record and I won 6 or 7 or 8. You could be Rachel McLish and win it 2 times, and it's what you do. So I would say with Chris, just overall, he brought the muscle, he brought the definition, and I think his role in history, a very important one. He was up against some of the up and coming greats, like you said, with Tom Platz and with Samir.
Yeah, and he was a different guy He had his own philosophy. He believed in his own methods. A great Mr. Olympia. Now, the other guy, the Lion of Lebanon, I'm going to say that in my personal opinion, he was more impressive than Chris Dickerson. And many people consider him to be one of the top 5 Mr. Olympias of all times.
Yeah.
If you ask Shawn Ray, he says, Tarek, I saw Samir Bannout, and that was one of the most beautiful physiques I've ever seen. When we talk about some of the greatest backs, the Christmas trees, this was the guy.
Yeah, Samir. I would agree with you. Samir, I feel his physique definitely in history more dominant than Chris Dickerson. And just his flair. I think he was the first that stepped on stage, and he's known as the Lion of Lebanon. And remember him at Powerhouse Gym at Highland Park. And when he walked in, he was one of the first Mr. Olympias, way before I competed, and that won that title.
Now help me out here, team. Without my glasses, I'm pretty sure that's Frank Zane.
That's Frank Zane right there, yeah.
So when you talk about you win Mr. Olympia against the other people on stage, you can look back at the pictures with just you by yourself.
Yes.
But you beat the best of your era, which is always important to remember. Oh, the greatest of all time. Who did you go up against? Frank Zane was a beast.
Yeah, a beast. So this had to be this was huge, because I believe Samir won in 1980.
1982.
Yes. And the fact that Frank Zane is on that stage and he's standing back there and Samir won the Olympia, it says a lot.
At one point, Chris Dickerson was the greatest bodybuilder in a single year, and Samir Bannout was the greatest bodybuilder in a single year. These are Mr. Olympias. People like to talk about the dynasties, Lee Haney, Arnold, Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman. But we cannot forget that in a specific year, these guys were the greatest bodybuilders of their time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, aesthetically, it's just not going to get any better in its era than what Samir's putting out here. I mean, the striations across that far pec on the side chest, the oblique development.
Wow.
On this one, we try to tell guys all the time on a double bi to flare out those lats and pull those elbows forward. That's just stunning. And to have veins in your lats.
Yeah, amazing. Great.
He had a
great
beautiful
muscle.
physique. Yeah,
beautiful physique.
Samir Bannout was iconic, and he's very adamant about posing, right? He's very critical of some of the guys right now because they don't pay attention to posing. And he was one of the masters of presentation. My favorite shot of him, B-roll that, is his back double biceps with the Christmas tree. He was the inventor of the Christmas tree.
The fact that young people today know who he is. Like they know him. You know, and that says a lot about you winning the Olympia one time. And that was back in the 80s. And now, like 35 years, 40 years later, young people know Samir.
I hadn't seen him in a long time. A couple of years ago when the Olympia was in Orange County in Orlando, I walk around the corner after a prejudge, and there he is. And being a fan, it's like seeing one of the Jedis in Star Wars.
Yes.
You just see this legend just appear. And nice as can be, of course, had a lot to say about the show. But it was just so incredible just to be in the presence of someone who was part of this.
He's got this huge personality.
Yes.
He comes to the shows and everybody wants to take pictures of him. He calls me Habibi, and he's a fantastic guy. I love Samir Bannout. And I'm going to say, out of all the bodybuilders that won one time, he might be my favorite. We're going to go on the list in the next segments, but I think Samir on this battle with Dickerson, he wins. So far, he's leading the pack.
All right, we have 3 current one-time Mr. Olympia as well. A couple recent, I'll say it that way, is a little better. When we come back, we're going to be talking about them when we come back on Primetime Muscle. All right, guys, we talk about the big leaps in evolution at each, not even decade. Sometimes it's 3 to 5 years. The bodies take a big jump. Shawn Rhoden was one of those big jumps. And when you talk about big up top, tiny waist out into a beautiful quad sweep, he had it.
Look, taking consideration this is 2018 at the Orleans Arena. Who's the current champion? Phil Heath. Dominant. He's supposed to go for his 8th title. The party's set in Las Vegas for him to celebrate the fact that he's going to join Linda Murray, Lee Haney, and Ronnie Coleman. And here comes Shawn Rhoden at his best ever. Why his best ever? Because look at his conditioning here. Glutes, man.
Wow.
Hamstrings. We had never seen that from him. Look at the top, the biceps, the triceps, the chest. He had the small waist. I'm not going to say he had a great back double biceps because he didn't. Phil got him on that pose. But he was beautiful on that night. Beautiful. And nobody can say that the competition was not fierce. He defeated Phil Heath. You got to look at Shawn Rhoden as one of the great one-time Mr. Olympias. He was my friend. He used to come to California to the shows, and we used to talk about it. You know, when he went through his problems, him and I would send a lot of text messages. Prior to him passing, I saw him in Orlando. He was doing cardio, and he was my friend. He was a great one-time Mr. Olympia.
All right, before we move on, we'll talk about the conditioning. I mean, the connection between the serratus into the obliques, the feathers going in at the top of the obliques, just beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Here at the gym where I work out, we have this huge poster, and I see him every time I work out, and I get to really study his physique from the front. And I was like, wow, just his upper body in comparison to his lower body, you know, it's but even. It was a good balance from upper to lower. And then that little tiny waist, and the fact that he had the flaring quads and the conditioning and the biceps, I was like, wow, Shawn, like really magnificent physique, well balanced.
Yeah, he had beautiful lines, incredible. He wins 2018, and he said, I will never lose to Phil Heath again. Unfortunately, we never saw him on stage.
Now, the next year at the Orleans,
Brandon Curry. Brandon Curry came in and he defeated William Bonac, who Ronnie Coleman's off the chains, and he defeated
Big Rami.
Hadi Choopan.
Hadi Choopan.
Big Rami was there as well, yes. So one of the things about Brandon turned pro in 2008.
Yes.
He goes on to win the Olympia in 2019.
Wow.
He wasn't a fast rise, right? So there were bad moments for him. There were moments where people were speculating that he should go to the 212. It was Bob Ciccarello who said that at a press conference. And Brandon Curry said, I was offended by that, you know, and he went back to win the Olympia. He wins 2 Arnolds and he wins the Olympia. At the finals, he was wearing yellow right there.
Oh, there
he was wearing yellow trunks, and I thought that was his best look. Prejudging, he looked great, but he closed the door on Hadi and William Bonac at the finals. And a lot of people don't pay attention, but Brandon Curry is one of the best genetics we've ever seen. He had a back double biceps that could go against Phil Heath. He had a back double biceps that was better than Shawn Rhoden. He has a huge upper body. And he matched the development in 2019. We saw the big legs. He is a great Mr. Olympia.
I agree with you 100% that he is a great, great Mr. Olympia, and for so many reasons other than just his physique. Based on what you said about him, a late riser, starting out in 2008, then winning the Olympia in 2019. This man, he is so consistent, and at every Olympia, he pushes all of these other athletes. He pushes them. And in that long period of time, when you have someone like Andrew Jack and Nick Walker and Derek Lunsford and all these guys, he's proven that he's consistent. He's proven that he can get better. He's proven that he can shut the noise out and continue to show up.
He's outside of that window where he should, in theory, be starting to atrophy. The legs should be starting to go. We talked about this over the last couple of years, of the little spots he needed to fill in, and he did. He's not fading. He's still improving and still filling in. He's working on his conditioning every show. There was a layer of water at one point, and he just keeps tightening and fine-tuning, and like you said, getting to know his body.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on point.
And then Hadi Choopan.
The Wolf.
There's COVID, 2020, 2021, Big Ramy. Big Ramy has the nerve damage. And then Hadi Choopan wins the Mr. Olympia. Why is Hadi Choopan one of the most important Mr. Olympias of all times?
Conditioning.
Conditioning, but more than that, it's symbolic. Hadi Choopan is from Iran, right? Our government does not have a great relationship with the government of Iran. That's a fact. Nobody's going to deny it. An Iranian competitor comes to the United States and wins the Mr. Olympia. So much for politics. I guess we bodybuilders don't know anything about politics, because here we are, an Iranian competitor winning in American soil. And it's very symbolic for the industry, for our history, because nobody can say that there's any type of preferences. He won, and he is from someplace that we don't have a good relationship in terms of nations.
You know, Glenn, it is funny. We take a lot of blowback in a lot of directions. We love your feedback. We love your input. As good or bad as it may be, your opinions are incredibly valuable. But we got a lot of blowback if we don't always, every time, mention Hadi, with little fire emojis next to Hadi. They say, well, you wanted Derek because you needed to change things up. It's politics. And we say, what about Big Ramy? What about Samir? What about, we can go through our history and say the best physique won. And that year, more than anything, he was the people's champion, I believe, the year before, and maybe even the year he won. That year, his conditioning was so unreal. That side oblique shot, that front shot, his side chest with that shred across the top. You can't beat that.
Yeah, you can't beat that. And I've sat in the front row many times, and up close and personal, and his conditioning is off the chain. It really is. And you know what I love about Hadi? The fact that, you know, he brings the size and he brings the conditioning. And again, I feel like across the board in bodybuilding, I like to see our big guys bring me the conditioning. You know, be conditioned. Nobody's saying you have to have, or you're going to try to match him with his ripped glutes or with, you know, but bring the condition. Bring the condition and bring the presentation. He's a master at, when he's up there posing, he really practices. He knows his angles. He knows his shots. And
he is the best poser, in my opinion. Even right now, Derek, Samson have won the Mr. Olympia. He's the best poser. His conditioning is the most consistent. And one thing is, Hadi has been competing for a long time. You know, he's not, even though he's not as old as Samson, he's probably in his mid-30s. It looks like he's been competing since his early 20s. So he's been there a long time. He is a symbolic Mr. Olympia. I go all over the world, Tim, Linda, and now that this guy has won, I got people from Malaysia, from India saying, if Hadi won, I can win.
Yes.
Wow. And you remember that year that he won.
Yes.
Tarek's talking about how symbolic and amazing it was for Iranian to win, especially what we were going through that year.
Yes.
And he gave that speech that reminded me of Rocky in Rocky IV when he was in Russia. When Rocky said, you know, you was cheering for him and I don't like you much, and you was cheering for me and y'all don't like me much. We should get along. And it was a really great speech, inspirational to both his country and the world, to say, I'm here. We can all do this together.
Yeah, and I remember he made a very profound statement about women, and that was huge. He talked about equality for women. And I thought, he's from Iran, and you're making that statement out loud?
Yeah, and you're going back
and
to the
you're going to
country?
go back?
Yeah.
So that told me a lot about him.
That's a brave guy. Well, we have two more, and they are the two most current Mr. Olympias who have each won one time, because you've talked in previous episodes about we do not have a dynasty right now, and we're going to see what these two guys looked like, their wins, and what they may bring to this show this year when we come back.
Every rep and every drop of sweat counts when you're chasing greatness. SteelFit is your ultimate partner on this journey. SteelFit isn't just about products, it's about performance. Abs of steel, buns of steel, and guns of steel are designed to help you push through limits. Your goals are within reach. SteelFit is for those who are committed to their results.
All right, welcome back. So you remember, so it was Brandon, then Hadi,
Yes.
or no, Big Ramy. Yes, Big Ramy. And then Hadi, and that was the year that Derek got the special invite to move up from 212 to the Open, and he pushed on Hadi and took second.
Yes.
And then there was that whole thing where he came back just a notch better and won, what, 4 out of 7 poses?
Correct. It was very close, and he defeated Hadi Choopan. Dense muscle. He turns pro in 2017. Blue trunks as well. He's a light heavy, defeats Jacob Wilson, a heavyweight, defeats Patrick Moore, a super heavy, at the USA's. From that, he goes to Tampa, wins that show in the 212, and places second to Flex Lewis. After that, he suffers a brutal decline. He places second to Kamau. He was the mega favorite to win. And then he goes to 4th. He falls to 4th in the 212. Then he rises again. He goes on to win the 212, has a historic guest posing in Pittsburgh, gets the invitation, and a lot of people were against the invitation. They said, why is he getting an invitation? When he goes on stage, everybody understands why he deserved that invitation, places second, and then he comes back to win. A great back double biceps, fantastic back double biceps, very dense physique. He's still a young guy. He can win more Olympias, but he is a memorable Mr. Olympia because out of all these guys that we mentioned today, he's the only one to win the 212 and the Open.
And that's huge. When I heard that he was leaving 212 and going into the Open, my first thought with men, it's always about being big, being big. So if you're going from the 212 where you were restricted to 212 pounds, what is your mentality? How do you transition into the Open and go up against the big guys, Big Ramy and all of those guys at the time, and without losing the conditioning? Like, you're so obsessed with, okay, I'm 212, I gotta prove this. When he showed up at his first Olympia Open and he brought the conditioning and he was right there, what was it, he was top 3.
Second.
He took second.
Yeah.
That told me so much about him. And for that, I will always respect and know that this guy, he's dangerous.
And
He's
so dangerous that he lost the Olympia next year to Samson, right? And then he came back at the Arnold and defeated Samson, right? And we transition to Tim Wilkins, who will make the transition.
Well, now we look at Samson over here, which blew everybody's mind. When we go back to being a mass monster, but we've talked about mass with balance, mass with lines. You're not just big for the sake of being big. He was mind-blowing. Derek was off just a touch, but standing next to and I love this. You either watch the Olympia on the pay-per-view or you have to be there to watch Big Steve shift the guys, Hadi in the middle, Samson in the middle, Derek in the middle. But there was something that night you said, oh, this is Samson's night. You got it. And this is what we were looking at, Linda.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing structure. Small waist. Just beautiful lines. Just all around beautiful structure.
Look at his back double by. This is one of these things that's such a telltale because you have to take this pose from Derek. Just so massive, but so the quads. Kind of walk us through what you think of all this.
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, when I look and I just see balance, see the upper body, small waist, see the flare on the quads, nice calves, nice back development, 3D. And the fact that I know I was there, so I know he was tight in the rear end. You know, just amazing. And Derek off just a tad bit from what we know him over the last couple years. And I was just like, how can you not look at this man's size, his size? And I know how it is in the open, like, men, you guys love size. We all love size. We love big.
You say it isn't everything, but it is.
We love it.
In the open.
And with shape.
Yes.
And structure. And he brought the conditioning. So very impressed.
So he took third that year, and Derek's a very nice guy. He was pissed. You went back to console him because he was pissed.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like to see them suffering. I know he was suffering when he took third. This guy is the current Mr. Olympia. If he takes third this year, I'll be there with him. I'm never there with the winner. I know the winner is surrounded. The winner is surrounded by everybody, right? I'm always there with the guys that took it hard. There was a buzz in the industry. No, most of the fans, they're like, come on, the Mr. Olympia, Derek and Hadi are short, dense guys. Where are the lines? And I'm thinking to myself, my friend, they are phenomenal bodybuilders. Franco Columbu was a phenomenal bodybuilder. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he didn't have the greatest legs, right? And he was a phenomenal bodybuilder. You look at some of the guys from the past, right? Jay Cutler, he won it 4 times. He didn't have a small waist. So, you know, but he was massive in some areas. But people love the beautiful lines. So when Samson Dauda won the Mr. Olympia, there was a lot of okay, now we have the beautiful lines again. Now, he always had it. He always had the size. But the conditioning needed to be better combined with the back double biceps. You mentioned a great point, Timothy. You usually don't have good points, but this was a good point. He goes, he's got to take away the back double biceps from Derek Lunsford. It's going to be challenging because he's got an amazing back double biceps. But you don't have to win every pose. You can lose some poses, but you can come close. If I'm here with Linda Murray, we're both at the Mr. Olympia, okay? I beat her on the front double biceps. She beats me on the front lat spread. But when she beats me on the front lat spread is a huge difference. She dominates. So the judges go, man, Linda just killed Tarek on that pose. So then what do I have to do? On the front double biceps that I beat her, I gotta go and create that difference. The opposite as well. Samson said, okay, I'm gonna lose the back double biceps to Derek, but I'm gonna improve my back so much that the judges are not saying, well, Samson got killed from the back. You know what I mean? That's what he did.
Here's what makes it really exciting. So we're by no means saying this is a 2-man race. I will say, first and foremost, that is not the best Derek. This year, I think, is the best Derek. The Derek we saw at the Arnold that took the title from Samson. We haven't seen the best Samson because he's put on even more size and he's learning his conditioning. Andrew Jack, I promise you, will be a problem for somebody this year. Martin Fitzwater, a lot bigger, didn't lose his lines. He could be in the mix. Hadi Choopan could be in the mix. And here's the interesting thing. When they do that, you don't have to take 4 out of 7 poses anymore because you take 2, he takes 3, he takes 2, and suddenly the guy with only 3 poses is Mr. Olympia.
That's a good point. Again, another good point. He's doing
He's
good.
on it today.
He's doing good.
My time.
The last couple weeks, Linda was saying, you know what? I'm not feeling it from Tim.
I'm not.
Come on, Linda. He's doing good.
Yeah, he stepped up.
He stepped
it up.
Good job.
You know what? It was one of those Steelfoot creatine gummies.
Yeah.
I had that at lunch.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's a product from Steel Fit, from your friends Stacy Kaufman and Rob Kaufman. Steel Fit is one of our sponsors. Go there and type in promo code Primetime Muscle and see what happens.
All right. So this year, what are we looking at here, fam? Who's
Well, I want to know, guys, I want to lose some followers. I want some animosity here, Linda. You're not getting away without picking your favorite, and you as well, Tim Wilkins. You know, we got to get you in some more controversy on the
That's what I
internet.
need.
You didn't have enough controversy this year. So,
My hate mail is dying off.
Linda Murray, let's make some enemies. Who's your favorite one-time Mr. Olympia?
Oh, my favorite one. Okay, my favorite one-time Mr. Olympia, I'm going to go with Brandon Curry.
Brandon Curry.
Brandon Curry, because I feel like he's just been, and it's not always just about the physique. Yes, it's the fact of his consistency and that he still pushes people. Samson knows. He knows that I need to watch out for Brandon. Like, they know that. It's not one of those things where, he'll never beat me.
Uh-huh.
He pushes. Brandon Curry.
Brandon Curry. Timothy, what is your favorite one-time bodybuilder?
I did have the Samir Bannout poster in '85 on the wall, but I'm going to go Brandon Curry also.
Wow.
That was my first pay-per-view year, although I was the onstage MC from 1999 to 2002. That was a very exciting year for me to see that happen because I was so happy for Brandon.
I love Brandon. I love all these guys, but I'm going to go, my favorite physique is the Lion of Lebanon, Samir Bannout.
Okay.
I think he was incredible. I got to go with Samir Bannout.
I love that, Samir. Yeah.
All right.
Great choice.
As always, you can support us by subscribing, commenting, sharing. We want to, of course, thank Global Formulas.
Train hard, demand the best.
Steel Fit, Skin and Nutrition. And as always, if you want to support the show and tight shot of this bad, but it says your sponsor logo here right on my cup. If your sponsor logo would like to be on that screen, do let us know. We'd love to have you at Primetime Muscle. Linda Murray.
That's it.
Gosh darn, it's good to see you.
Yes,
Thanks.
good to be here.
You really classed the show up.
Great to be here.
We've been told it was a low bar till you got here, but we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, I raised.
Taking us up a little. Tara Kilgindi.
Great to be here. I'm excited. We've had some amazing weeks with great topics. I need you guys to subscribe and like Primetime Muscle, the truth of bodybuilding, just a fact, Olympia TV, the most respected bodybuilding channel in history. Back to you, Tim Wilkins.
As always, thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on the next Primetime Muscle.